Do you want a simple technique for becoming a better leader, empowering your team, and being more successful? Great, because that's what we're going to be talking about today, where I want to go through one of the simplest and underused methods for turning yourself into a great coach for the people on your team almost overnight. Before we dive in, I do want to say welcome back to the channel if you're a regular here. And if you are new, my name is Matt Jertson. I'm a former Air Force instructor pilot, former head of training and development at SpaceX, and I now run a company called Built, where I get to work with some of the most innovative companies on the planet to train their leaders how to build teams capable of solving the world's hardest problems. If you like this video and you or your organization are struggling with some of these kinds of challenges, please reach out to see if we can help. So today I want to talk about coaching and a specific model of coaching. So in order to talk about that, I first want to talk about what coaching is. We're then going to talk about the model, and then we'll talk about the impact that it can have on your team. So when it comes to coaching and what coaching is, lots of different people are going to tell you lots of different things. But to me, coaching really comes down to a mindset. And I like to separate them between the expert mindset and the coaching mindset. The expert mindset is the mindset that many new managers have because that's what they were expected to be as an individual contributor. I have lots of videos on this about how you have to make a change in how you think about your role in the company. And with the expert mindset, your sole focus is solving the problem, right? Somebody comes to you and say, hey, this is what's going on. You immediately say, okay, here's how you should solve it. But what that does is it takes away accountability from them, right? It means you're disempowering them because you're saying that in order to solve that problem, you need to be the one to solve it. Versus a coaching mindset, where a coaching mindset is much more curious. It's much more empowering. It's about asking questions. It's about when somebody comes to you with a problem, you asking them where do you think this problem comes from? Is this problem important? How would you solve this problem, right? It's about asking those kinds of questions so that ultimately it's about building the capability of the people on your team. And so if you create this mindset shift, and when people come to you and you say, okay, I'm going to approach this as a coach, so much of it is about asking questions. So then the question becomes, what questions should I be asking? And that's where we get to the heart of the model that is called the GROW model. I didn't come up with this. It's something that's pretty popular. It's funny. Within the talent development or HR world, most people have heard of the GROW model. But when I go out and work with companies, very few people out in the world, very few employees or even managers have heard about the GROW model, which is why I wanted to talk about it. And so the GROW model is great because, well, one, it's easy to remember, right? We're trying to coach people. We're trying to grow them, right? So the GROW, GROW. But then what do each of those letters mean? So G stands for goal, R stands for reality, O stands for options, and W stands for way forward. And what this is a framework for how to have your coaching conversation. So you start with G, goal. What is the goal? What's the outcome you're trying to achieve? And depending on the nature of the conversation, this could be, where do you want to be in 5 years? Or what's the outcome of this project that would be best, right? It's trying to pare down what the thing is that you're trying to achieve. And remember, this isn't you answering these questions. This is you asking the person you're coaching to answer these questions. Maybe you give suggestions, but they're the ones who need to be answering this. So what's the goal? What's the reality? If we know where we want to be, where are we today, right? And this is where you really want to be detailing, making sure you don't skip over anything that they actually know. They set the stage of this is where we are. So now if we know where we want to be, we know where we are, what are some options for how to get there? What are some potential solutions to this problem? What have you done in the past? What have you seen work on other teams? These are all the kinds of questions that you can be asking to just list out a bunch of options. And then finally, way forward, which one of those options are we going to pick, right? And again, for all of these, you want them to be answering these questions. The one caveat I'll say with the GROW model is that depending on who you are managing, right? More experienced employees are probably going to have an easier time answering these questions. So coaching conversations can be much easier. Whereas for a more junior employee, not always, but potentially, there's a little bit more work for you to do as the manager because they might just not be used to thinking about things this way. But again, That's the whole point of these conversations. You're trying to build capability in them. And so ultimately, when we think about what's the impact of these kinds of conversations and using a model like this, is first you're unlocking that team member's potential. You're getting them to ask themselves the kinds of questions that you're asking. They're going to start asking these questions of themselves without coming to you. So it's going to be much more likely they're going to be able to identify these challenges, identify ways forward in the future. Second, it puts less pressure on you. You don't need to be the one coming up with the solution. You're just the one asking the right questions. And what all this means is that you're going to dramatically improve employee and team engagement. You're going to improve productivity. You're just going to make it a better place to work, because when you're asking these questions, you're asking them empathetically, you're asking them actively, where you're listening to what they're saying and reflecting back and re-asking the question to make sure you understand what they're saying. It's going to make you a better manager. It's going to make you be a more engaged manager, and it's going to make them feel like they are more empowered. All of this is exactly what you want to be able to be doing to be an effective leader. So I hope you found that helpful. It's honestly a really simple way. It's like hyper simple way to be more effective as a coach. In fact, in the description below, I'm going to link to a simple worksheet that you can use that lists out some of these potential questions that you can be asking. So I hope you found it helpful. Like and subscribe if you did, and I will see you next time.